Milan, Chovan, what's your takeaway from tonight's session? The work session.
The work session.
The bifurcated work session.
Yeah, I think it was a good session. I mean, I'm glad that we finally had numbers to look at, a spreadsheet. You know, they were maybe a little too pie in the sky, if you will. I mean, I think they painted the best case scenario for the city of Massillon. And based on that fact, I mean, we don't have to do anything, and at the end of 5 years, we're still going to be in the black by, you know, 1.3 or 1.4 million or whatever it was.
You just don't buy those numbers?
Well, realistically, I mean, I've had enough businesses that I know there are some swings that can occur that you can never predict. So I think we still need to raise some revenue and do some other things. My fellow council members, you know, have decided that you know, maybe an income tax is a way to go again. You know, none of us like the idea of putting on a street lighting fee and reducing the income tax credit for people that live here and work outside of town when we put our last plan together. You know, we passed that legislation in council, and then when the tax levy passed, you know, that's why we have to come up with a new plan now. So I kind of think the idea of maybe an income tax that would be what we asked for before, going from 1.8 to 2.0%, but repealing the street lighting fee and restoring the income tax credit back to 100%, that might be something that citizens would be able to swallow. We also got information today that we didn't have before that shows that probably 3/4 of the tax revenue that the city of Massillon gets every year comes from non-residents, people working in Massillon that live outside. So, you know, that means that if we have a tax increase, the majority of that money is coming from people that do not live in Massillon, that work here, that use our services, but then go home at night. So, whereas if we went with the other proposal that we currently have from the mayor, that's a property tax increase.
And which would be borne by residents of Massillon.
Residents or any property owner. I mean, businesses, anybody that owns
wouldn't
property.
have to necessarily be a resident, but at least a property owner, right?
Right, and you know, if you think about it, any of our retirees that own their home, they get hit with a property tax increase. You know, an income tax increase if you're on a retirement income, or if you're on unemployment income, you don't pay the tax.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not sure that we got a good job of getting that information out last time that we went for a levy, but I think we're gonna have some spreadsheets tomorrow that show the impact of this new proposal that was discussed tonight to see if it really does make financial sense. We know that a portion of that money that comes in we want to designate for street repair. God knows we need it. I mean, you know, unless we're driving hovercraft, you know, we're going to ruin a lot of cars if we don't fix the streets. And then the rest of it would go into the general fund for operating expenses.
But just roughing the numbers right now, Councilman Lewis, I think, talked in terms of netting out with the elimination of some revenues, the two that you spoke to, and plus the increase in the income tax. Not quite at 700,000, but rough, and I know these are rough numbers, 675 to 700 in that range?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know them exact. I know that before when we put the income tax credit on, or not the credit, but the income tax levy on the ballot, going from 1.8 to 2.0 was going to generate about 1.6 million. Well, if you add together the street lighting fee and the money that we get from the income tax credit reduction, that's about 800,000, maybe a little shy of that. So you have to subtract that out of the 1.6 we would gain, and that leaves us a net gain of $800,000. And out of that is where we would have to fund, you know, street repairs plus, you know, the mayor's asked for vehicle replacement policy, you know, which we desperately need. I just don't know how much with $800,000 if you can fund both vehicle replacement and street repair. I'm not sure of that, and that's why we need to see more numbers, and that's why we've got to have at least one more meeting here before we send this to the mayor for her approval. I'm not sure we have a 100% agreement on council yet on how to do it.
Okay, but a property tax never ever was going to pass this council. Is that a fair assessment?
I mean, I don't know. When I first looked at it, when I first looked at the mayor's plan, I mean, it made sense to me that if the numbers worked, because it was a 5-year plan, and you know, if the taxpayers, if the property owners and the voters voted for it, if they didn't feel that the money was being used correctly, then at the end of 5 years, it goes away.
Right.
That's the other thing that we talked about doing with the income tax levy, is making that a 5-year sunset also.
Right.
So at the end of 5 years, if people didn't think this is working the way it should, then it would automatically revert to the 1.8% where we are now. But we would also have the income tax credit reduction back to 100%, and we would have eliminated the street lighting fee. So, I mean, we'd be back where we were 2 years ago with income and expenses.
And so council's going to meet again Wednesday at 5:30 to come to a consensus?
Right, yeah, that's the plan now. We're going to try to have some spreadsheets to look at tomorrow from Ken Coer, and if we have some questions, maybe we'll, you know, that's why we'll meet on Wednesday, just to finally get our arms around it, and then talk about the language we want to write into our revision of the fiscal recovery plan.
Okay, and off topic, just one more point. Information came out tonight that Safety Director Hennon's resigned. A reaction?
I mean, I heard it when you did tonight, so I have no reaction. I haven't spoken to Al yet. I mean, I wish him well, whatever he decides to do. I have a lot of respect for him.